Hey guys, today we're going to be working on angle bisector and base angle theorems and their converses and corollaries. So if a point is on the bisector of an angle, so if this point is on the bisector of this angle, then the point is equidistant from the sides at a matching angle. So point T is on the bisector of this angle. So this is going to be the if statement. Then point T is going to be equidistant from G and from D. So equidistant means that this distance is going to be the same as this distance since T is a point on an angle bisector. And the last part of this definition right here is it's equidistant from the sides at a matching angle. So right here, these angles will be the same. So this is going to be at a 90-degree angle on both sides. So let's apply this to a math problem. So here we have an angle. There is an angle bisector, and we can tell it's a bisector because this angle here and this angle here are congruent. So if all of this is true, that means that this point right here is equidistant from this side and this side. And equidistant means equal distance. So if I am trying to solve for x, and I know that the distance from the bisector to this side and the bisector to this side, or ray, is equidistant, that means these two things are equal to each other. So to solve for x, you set those expressions equal to each other and solve. So first I would subtract the 4x to the other side. That would give me 6 is equal to 5x minus 24. Then I would add the 24 over to get 30 is equal to 5x. And that would give me an answer of 6 for x. Anytime you're solving problems like this, we can abbreviate this as angle bisector theorem. For the converse of angle bisector theorem, remember back in Unit 2, the converse is when you switch the if and the then statements. So now we're saying if a point is equidistant from the sides of an angle, then the point is on an angle bisector at a matching angle from the sides. In the example, we can see that this distance and this distance is the same. And if these distances are the same, that means that this point is equidistant, therefore making these two angles congruent. So that would be your then statement. To solve for x, all you would have to do is set the x plus 30 equal to 3x. To solve this, I would subtract the x over and get 30 is equal to 2x. Then divide by 2, and you would get an answer of 15 for x, and we abbreviate this as converse of angle bisector theorem. So sometimes it might be a little hard to tell the difference between the angle bisector theorem and the converse of angle bisector theorem. So for the angle bisector theorem, you're told or given that the angles are congruent, therefore you can set these distances equal to each other. So angle bisector theorem gives you congruent angles first. Converse of angle bisector theorem tells you that the sides, or these distances from the sides, are congruent. So it's giving you this first, therefore you can set the angle measures equal to each other. So this one gives you angles first, this one gives you equidistant lengths first. Now let's take a look at the base angles theorem. So if two sides of a triangle are congruent, then the base angles are congruent. So here, your if statement is given that you have sides of a triangle that are congruent. So this is going to be your if. That is going to cause your base angles, which are going to be angle A and angle C, to be congruent. That would be your then statement. If we take a look at the example, we have a triangle with two sides that we know are congruent because they are marked with these marks. So if these two sides are congruent, then these base angles are also going to be congruent. So if I wanted to solve for x, all you would have to do is set 9x equal to 72 to solve, and you would get an answer of x is equal to 8. And this would be base angles theorem. Notice the next problem looks a little different. So we still have a triangle. We still know that this side on the left is congruent to this side on the right. So if those two sides are congruent, that means your base angles are congruent. But like in the last one, we normally would set these two things equal to each other, but there's something missing here. However, whatever this angle is, this other angle is going to be the same because of the base angles theorem. So if this angle is x, then that angle is also x. Now we have to solve for x. What theorem would you use? You would want to use the triangle sum theorem. So you would add all these together and set them equal to 180. So x and x is 2x plus 54 is equal to 180. You would subtract the 54 from each side. So you would get 2x is equal to 126. X is equal to 63. So we applied the base angles theorem to understand that this angle was also x, but to solve for x, we use triangle sum theorem. For the converse of base angle theorem, if two angles of a triangle are congruent, then the two sides that do include the other angle are congruent. So if I look at this example, it tells me that these two angles are congruent. So if these two angles are congruent, then I know that this side is congruent to this side, and we set those expressions equal to each other to solve for x. So if you subtract 3x from each side, that would give you -2 is equal to 3x minus 23. Then I want to isolate the x term, so I'm going to add the 23 over to the other side. That would give me 21 is equal to 3x. When you divide both sides by 3, you get an answer of 7 for x, and you would label this converse of base angles theorem. So to tell the difference between the two, the base angle theorem will give you congruent sides, and you're going to be finding angles. The converse of base angles theorem will give you the angles, then you'll be asked to find the sides. Let's take a look at the corollary to base angles theorem. So if a triangle is equilateral, then all three angles are congruent. Notice in this example, for your if statement, you're given sides first. So because we know all of the sides are congruent, that means that all of the angles will also be congruent. That would be your then statement. So we can apply that to this example. I have all three sides as congruent. So if all three sides are congruent, then all of the angles are congruent. So that means that inside each of these, there would be a 15x. So there's two ways to solve this problem. One way is to take all of these, add them up, and set them equal to 180. That would give you 45x is equal to 180 with x is equal to 4. However, that's not the only way to solve this problem. So if all these are equilateral, then the angles are equiangular. So one of these angles is equal to 60 because 180 divided by 3 is 60. So another way to solve it would be to set one of the 15x's equal to 60, and then when you divide by 15, you would still get x equals 4. To abbreviate this in future proofs, you would say COLL to represent corollary to base angles theorem. Now let's take a look at the corollary to the converse of the base angles theorem. So if a triangle is equiangular, then all three sides are congruent. So this one gives you angles first, so you're proving that sides are congruent, whereas this top one, you're given that your sides are congruent, so therefore the angles are congruent. Let's take a look at this example. You are given that all of these angles are congruent. So if these angles are congruent, then the sides are also congruent. So this one gets a little bit tricky because notice that we have a 5x minus 10 and an 8y plus 12. So you can't really set this one equal to this one because you'll have two different variables. But I do know that 5x minus 10 is equal to 100 and 8y plus 12 is also equal to 100 because if these angles are equal, then the sides are congruent. So you're going to end up writing two separate equations for this one. To solve for x, you would do 5x minus 10 is equal to 100. Once you add the 10, you get 5x is equal to 110 with x being 22. Then you'll do the same thing, but with the expression that contains the y. So you'll have 8y plus 12 is equal to 100. Subtract the 12, you get 8y is equal to 88 with an answer of 11 for y. You abbreviate this as corollary to converse of base angles theorem. So again, when you have the corollary to base angles theorem, this one gives you the sides first, and then you'd be finding the angles. Corollary to the converse of the base angles theorem, this one would give you angles first, then you would be proving sides are equal.